Okay, so good morning, dear students. See, in the last class, we have discussed about the measures of similarity and dissimilarity. So I'll repeat that again in this class. So see here, we are going to say that the two objects are that is similar. Uh, if we find the numerical measure here, okay, so using that numerical measure, okay, if you calculate this value of this numerical measure, okay, if they are very similar to each other, the degree to which the two objects are very similar to each other, okay, that value of numerical measure, it is called as similarity. So similarity between the two objects, so it will be measured with the help of a numerical measure here. So that numerical measure or the value, it will be indicating to what extent the objects are similar to each other, or they look like they look similar to each other. That value, numerical measure value, it is called as similarity. And I told that, see, the numerical value of this similarity, it will be lying between 0 and 1. If it is 0, then it means that the two objects are not similar. If it is 1, then it means that they are completely similar. So in between this range 0 to 1, see, the value of similarity is going to that is lie. And in the same way, I told that the similarity of the two objects is again measured with the help of a numerical measure only. So it will be specifying to what extent or degree the two objects are different or dissimilar. That is called as measure of dissimilarity. And again, see, this value, it will be lying between 0 and 1. Okay, so 0 stands for that is they are highly dissimilar, and 1 stands for they are similar. Okay. So again, in this, I told some of the similarity measures, that is simple matching coefficient and the Jaccard coefficient. Okay, so you need to remember these formulas here. Simple matching coefficient is number of matching attribute values by number of attributes. In the last class, I told that we need to find four values here: F00, F01, and then F10, and then F11. See, F00, it stands for the number of attributes where both the X and Y value are 00. See, this 00 stands for, in the subscript value, 00 stands for X and Y values here. If both the values are 00, it means that both X and Y value, attribute values are 0. So we need to find the total number of attributes where both the attribute values are 00. So that one stands for F00. So in the same way, F01 stands for the number of attributes where X is 0 and Y is 1. That is the value of F0, 0, 1. So in the same way, F10 is the number of attributes where X is 1 and Y is 0. That is F10. Okay, and last one is F11. It is the number of attributes where both X and Y are 1, 1. See, using these values, we can calculate these coefficients here. Okay, so first one is simple matching coefficient. It is equal to number of matching attribute values by number of attributes. See, number of matching attribute values means both the attribute values must be same. Same means either 0, 0 or 1, 1. So the number of such attributes will be F11 and F00. So in the numerator, so it will be F11 by F00. F11 plus F00. That is numerator value. That is the number of matching attribute values. And then total number of attributes in the denominator. So total number of attributes will be equal to sum of all these four values. Okay, so that is F01 plus F10 plus F11 plus F00. So this is the denominator. So this is the formula for finding simple matching coefficient. Next, in the same way, Jaccard coefficient, see, it is given by J is equal to number of matching presences divided by the number of attributes not involved in 0, 0 matches. So number of matching presences, say, it means presence means one value. Okay, so attribute values must be 1, 1 here. So total number of attributes which are having attribute values 1, 1 is F11, and the number of attributes not involved in 0, 0 matches. Okay, so 0, 0 matches we need to leave. That is the attributes which are having 0, 0 attribute values, we need to leave that, and we need to consider the remaining attribute values. So remaining attribute values are F01, F10, and F11. So add those values, that is denominator. So these are the equations we need to use to calculate the simple matching coefficient and the Jaccard coefficient. Okay, so see here, I had explained this problem in the last class. We have got the two vectors here, X and Y. So we need to find the simple matching coefficient and the Jaccard coefficient in order to check the similarity of these two vectors. See, they are given the attribute values. This 1 stands for the first attribute value, 0 stands for the second attribute value, and 0 stands for third attribute value. And again, this is fourth, fifth, and so on like that. And here also y, this is one of the vector, and here these values stands for the attribute value. See, this is first attribute value, this is second attribute value, third, like that. Okay. So now coming to the that is different measures or the numbers which we will be calculating here, that is f01, f10, f00, and then f1. So first one, f01 stands for x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1. So how many attributes are having x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1? So if you look here, so x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1, it must be. So x is equal to 0, this one, okay, and then y is equal to 1, so 1, and then x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1. So total two number of attributes are having x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 1. So f01 value is 2. And then f10 stands for the number of attributes where x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 0. So x is equal to 1, y is equal to 0. There is only one attribute. So its value is 1. Okay, next f00 stands for both x and y values must be 0. Okay, so x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, 1. X is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, 2. X is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, 3. And then this one is also 4, 5, 6, 7. So F00 value is 7. And then F11 stands for the number of attributes where both x and y is equal to 1. So x and y is equal to 1. Is there any attribute values where both x and y values are 1, 1? No, there is no such value here. If you look at these vectors, so its value is 0. So we have calculated these values f00, f01, f10, and then f11. So now we can calculate the simple matching coefficient and the Jacob coefficient now. So you need to remember these formulas. See, standard equations we have considered here. Just use them and calculate. See, simple matching coefficient is f11 plus f00 by f01, f10, f11 plus f00. So f11 and f00 values we have calculated already. So that is f11 is 0 and f00 is 7. So 0 plus 7 by sum of all these values, 2 plus 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 7 plus 0. So you will get the value as 0.7. Okay, so 0.7, it means that, say, it is closer to 1. So it means that both the vectors are somewhat approximately that is similar to each other. Okay. So in the same way, Jacob coefficient J equation, we know J is equal to f11 by f01 plus f10 plus f11. So f11 value we know, f11 is 0 by f01 is 2. Okay, and then f10 is 1, and then f11 is 0. So 2 plus 1 plus 0. So if you divide 0 by this value, 0 by 3, so it will be 0. So now according to Jacob coefficient, this value of 0 indicates that both these vectors x and y are, that is, dissimilar. If it is 0, it means that they are not similar, or they are dissimilar. If it is equal to 1, then it means that both the vectors are similar. So here we have got 0.7. It means that they are somewhat similar to each other. So this is for the Jacob and simple matching coefficient. Now coming to the cosine similarity, one more measure for measuring the similarity of the two objects, that is cosine similarity. See, again for this we have got the equation there. That is cosine similarity of the two vectors or the document vectors x and y. So it will be calculated using this equation. Cos of x comma y is equal to x into y by mod of x into mod of y. So numerator is x into y, that is dot product of these two vectors. Dot product means we just need to multiply the attribute values of x and y here. Okay, don't consider your mathematical that dot product here. Just multiply the corresponding attribute values of x and y, you'll get x into y. So this will be equal to summation of k is equal to 1 to n xk into yk. So this one stands for the dot product. Okay, that is multiply each of the attribute values here, you'll get this x into y, that is numerator. And denominator, we have got mod x into mod y. See, mod x we will get by considering the square of each of the attribute values of x. Okay, and then adding all those squares and then considering the square root. So this mod of x will be square root of k is equal to 1 to n x square square. Xk square stands for, that is, each and every attribute value will be squared here, and then sum of that will be considered, and then square root of that sum. That is going to give you the mod of x. That is nothing but x into x. So in the same way, mod of y will be y into y. That is square of each of the attribute values of y I need to consider, and then add all the values of the squares of the attribute values and then consider the square root. You'll get the this one. Okay. So now see here, if you look at the problem here, for these two vectors, we need to calculate the cosine similarity. Okay, so x and y vectors, they are given. Okay, x vector is 3, 2, 0, 5. Okay, and then 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, they are given, and y is equal to 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. So this is the x and y vectors. So we need to calculate the cosine similarity here. So see here, we know what is the cosine similarity equation is. Cos of x comma y is equal to x into y by mod of x into mod of y. This is the equation we need to use here. So x into y you can easily calculate by considering the multiplication of the attribute values of these two vectors. So x into y is equal to 3 into 1. That is the first attribute values. Next 2 into 0, and then 0 into 0, 5 into 0, and then 0 into 0, 0 into 0, 0 into 0, 2 into 1, 0 into 0, 0 into 2. Consider the multiplication and then add all those values. So it will be 3 into 1 plus 2 into 0 plus 0 into 0 plus 5 into 0 plus 0 into 0. Next is also 0 into 0, 0 into 0. So add all those values. So x into y you'll be getting as 5. So value is 5. So next mod of x value. So we need to consider only the vector x here and consider the square of each of these attribute values and then add and then consider the square root. So it is square root of, so first attribute is 3. So square it. 3 into 3, that is going to give you 3 square. Next second attribute is 2. So 2 into 2, that is second one. And then third attribute value is 0. 0 into 0. Next one is 5 into 5. And then next one is 0 into 0. So consider all the attribute values of x here and consider the square of all those attribute values till the end one. So end values are 0 into 0, 0 into 0, and then take the square root of all those squares of and sum. Okay. So then you will get it as 6.48. That is mod of x. So in the same way, mod of y is consider the square root of squares of all the attribute values and then take the sum. So 1 into 1. First attribute value is 1. So 1 into 1. Next is 0 into 0. And next is 0 into 0. Next is also 0 into 0. There's 0 into 0. And then this one is 1 into 1. And then 0 into 0. And then 2 into 2. So add all those squares and then consider the square root. You'll get the value as 2.24. Now, if you substitute these numerator and the denominator values, the numerator is x into y, that is 5, divided by denominator is mod of x into mod of y. So mod of x is 6.48 into mod of y is 2.24. So 5 by 6.48 into 2.24. So you'll get the value as 0.31. So this is the cosine similarity of x comma y. See this 0.31, see it is almost nearer to 0. So it means that these two vectors, okay, so document vectors, they are not much similar to each other. Okay. And one more thing I told, so you need to calculate the, that is, so you need to calculate the cosine similarity for these two attributes. I told to calculate the cosine similarity for these two attributes. So see here, if you calculate the cosine similarity for these two attributes, so you'll get the value as 0. Because when you multiply these vectors, that is in the numerator, we have got x into y here. So if you multiply the numerator values, so here all the values, see some of the values, they are 0 here. If you multiply any value by 0, it will be 0. 1 into 0 is 0. 0, 0. Next is also 0, 0. And here also 0. Nowhere it is 1, 1. So x into y value will get as 0. And then if you calculate mod of x and mod of y, you will get some value there. But if you consider the numerator, it is already 0 by some value, it will be 0 only. So for these two vectors, so you'll get the answer as 0 only. The cosine similarity for these two vectors is 0. So you try to calculate that. So then calculate Madi. Okay. So you'll get the value as 0. Okay. So this completes the second module. Okay. So now let's move to the next module. That is a third module. So see here, see the third module is that is association analysis. Okay, so till now we have completed the two modules. That is the first module. In that we have studied about the data warehouse. Okay, then we have seen what are the elements of data warehouse architecture and then types of data warehouse models. So all those things. And then in second chapter we have studied about the data warehouse implementation. That is in the second module, first chapter. Okay, then in the second chapter, we have seen what is data mining, and we have seen what are the different categories of data mining tasks. Okay, so then we have seen what is pre-processing. All those things we have studied in the second module. Okay, so while explaining the data mining task, I told that, see, one more important data mining task is that is association analysis. Okay, so association analysis, see, it is also one kind of a data mining task. So about that, we will be studying in this module. So in the third module, we will cover about all the that is association mining details here. Okay, so now let's begin with the that is introduction. So that is association rule mining. Okay, so what is the need of performing the association analysis here? So see here, this association mining, see, actually it is performed by the retailers. Okay, so or in simple terms, we can say that retailers are nothing but shopkeepers. Say shopkeepers, they will be performing the association analysis here. Okay, so in many of the businesses, see, what they will be doing is they will be collecting a large quantity of data here from the day-to-day operations. See, for example, if you have got any shop here, so in that shop, what are the different kinds of products that are sold? Okay, that is day-to-day operations data. Or if you consider the e-commerce sites, so in e-commerce sites, again, we can consider what are the different products which are sold, and who is the customer who has bought that, and how many quantities he has bought, and what is the amount he has spent on those items. See, all those data, it will be collected by many of the business enterprises here. Okay, so many of the business enterprises or even shopkeepers or the retailers, see, they will be collecting their day-to-day operations data. Okay, so this huge quantity of data, see, that is about the customer purchase data. It will be collected either at the grocery stores. Okay, so even you can go to the grocery stores, you can collect there, or even you can ask for the e-commerce sites like Amazon or the Flipkart. Okay, so or Snapdeal, in order to provide the day-to-day operations data. So the reason for collecting this day-to-day operations data by the retailers or the business enterprises is, see, they want to analyze the purchasing behavior of their customer. So purchasing behavior, so why the need of analyzing that purchasing behavior is, see, for example, see, if you have got a shop, okay, so my intention may be to find the frequent items which are purchased. So that I can find only if I perform the analysis of the purchasing behavior of the customers data here. So I told in the previous classes also, see, many of the people, they purchase the items frequently together. For example, see, bread and milk, see, there is a normal tendency that if a person buys a bread, then he will be also buying a milk. So if you observe the transactions here, bread, milk, see, it is going to appear in many of the transactions. So in the same way, see, diapers and then beer. So if you observe diapers and beer, see, it is occurring in 3 transactions here, transaction 2 and then 3 and then 4. See, that is frequent items here. So diaper will be, if a person buys a diaper, then he is also going to buy a beer. So in the same way, if the milk and bread is bought, and then eggs and coke may also be bought, or the beer and bread is bought and then milk is also bought. One more is, if a person buys a bread, then he's also going to buy a milk. So this is one kind of that is purchasing behavior that is analyzed by the businesses or the organizations or the retailers here. Okay, so the advantage of analyzing such that is data or the customer purchasing behavior is, see, one thing is they want to improve their business here. Okay, so if they find the that is the customers who will be buying the frequent items, and which are the items which are bought frequently, they can easily improve their business, and they can get the good profit here. That is one of the that is task that will be done in case of association analysis. Okay, so in case of association analysis, see here, the it is one of the method that will be used in order to discover the interesting relationships hidden in large data sets. So with the help of association analysis, we can analyze the data here, and we can find what are the interesting relationships that are hidden in the large data sets. So why do we want to find all such kinds of hidden relationships? Say, for example, I told that there is a hidden relationship between the bread and the milk. So that is one kind of a frequent item set. Okay. So if I find that, I can easily improve my business. If you have got any shop, so if you find what are the items which are bought together by the customers, so then you can easily keep many of the such items and you can gain many much profit daily. Okay. That is one of the advantage. So that can be done with the help of association analysis here. So with the help of association analysis, see, we can find the interesting relationships which are hidden in the large data sets here. Okay. So here, if you got a transaction, so if you observe this table, actually it is the data of market basket transaction. So here each row corresponds to a transaction here. So transaction means, for example, if you visit your the more or big bazaar, so what are the items you are going to buy during that visit? That is going to form a transaction here. So totally we have got total 5 transactions, and in each transaction we have got the transaction ID and a list of items that are bought by the customer here. So each transaction is identified with the transaction ID here and the list of items that are bought in each of the transactions. For example, in transaction 1, see, the customer has bought the bread and milk. That is the list of items that is bought in TID 1. So this is the market basket data. So this kind of data will be collected by many of the business organizations or the enterprises or the retailers in order to analyze the purchasing behavior. With the help of this, they can find the interesting relationships here which are hidden in these large quantities of data, and they can improve their business. So given a set of transactions here, we will be finding the rules here that are going to predict the occurrence of an item based on the occurrence of other items in the transaction. So in the association analysis, say you will be having a set of transactions here. So you'll be predicting, so which is the next item that will be bought by a customer based on the occurrence of the previous item. Okay, so based on the item which will be occurring in the transaction, you will be predicting which is the next item or which is the next product that will be bought by the customer. For example, if a person is buying a bread here in these transactions, then you can predict that, see, he is also going to buy the milk, or if he's buying a diaper, then he's also going to buy a beer. Okay, like that, you can predict here. That will be done in the association analysis here. So with the help of association analysis, we can predict the occurrence of an item based on the occurrence of other items in the transaction. So I mentioned some of the association rules here. So see here, this that is flower brackets, they indicate the items here, set of items. This is one set of items and this is one set of items. Here we have got the implication. If a customer buys diapers, then he is also going to buy a beer. If a customer buys milk and bread, then he is also going to buy the egg and coke, as you can observe here in these transactions. If a person buys beer and bread, then he is also going to buy milk. That is, there is some kind of association between these kinds of items which are bought by the customer here. So such kind of analysis, see, that will be done in case of association rule mining or association analysis. Okay. So now I told that, see, one of the advantage of performing that is association analysis is we can improve our business. See, there are many other applications also, like marketing promotions. See, you want to design your marketing promotion. So marketing promotion means, for example, see, you might have observed, see, many of the companies which are selling goods or the items, see, they will be marketing their products in other applications or the softwares also. Like in YouTube, they will be that is marketing their products, and also in Facebook, and then Twitter and the Instagram. See, they will be having their marketing page where they will be marketing their products. See, for example, Amazon, see, it will be marketing their product in the suggestions box of the Facebook, that is post. Okay, and also in the Instagram also you'll get the suggestion like that. So those marketing promotions we can do only if we perform the association analysis here. So with the help of association analysis, we can perform the marketing promotions here. Okay. So, and also see, sometimes see, even some of the companies, they will be giving the that is the offer here. See how they are going to give the offer for some of the products. See, that is based on the association analysis only. Say for example, see, during some of the festivals, see, you will be having some 10% discount on some of the products. See, the reason is, see, those people, okay, people who will be buying in online, they will be buying those products frequently. So those frequently items, they will be given some discount here so that they can improve their, that is selling of products, that is marketing their promotions. Okay, and one more advantage is inventory management. So inventory management is nothing but, so in case of inventory management, you will be that is performing the management of the items, okay, that is kept in your store. That is called as inventory management. That is, you will be that is rearranging some of the products here so that you can improve your business. So I had told in the previous class also that if you go to any of the, that is Reliance Digital Mart, for example, see there, if you find a TV, so next to TV you may have DVD player also. Okay, and then see, in case of that is Amazon or the Flipkart, see, if you buy a mobile phone, then they will be giving a suggestion that you can even buy a tempered glass, okay, or power bank. So that is a frequently purchased items. So they will be kept together. Okay, or in case of shops, see, if you go to the grocery shops, see, all the grains, they will be kept together, which are bought frequently. Okay, and if there is a pen, then near to pen, pencil will be kept or refill will be kept. So that is called as inventory management here. So you are managing the that is different items which are present in your goods list so that you can improve the selling of the products. That is also one of the application of association analysis. So first one I told, that is managing your marketing promotions, and second one inventory management, and third one is customer relationship management. Even we can improve the relationship with the customers if we perform the association analysis. So I'll give you one example where we can improve the relationship with the customer. So for example, see, normally if you are a that is genuine customer to some of the applications, see, sometimes they are going to give you some of the rewards. You will get some of the rewards. See, if you are using the Amazon Pay or Google Pay, so they will be giving you rewards. You might have observed cash back, okay, and then you'll be giving they will be giving some discount on some of the apps. See, that will be given because you're a loyal customer to them. So that is one kind of a customer relationship, okay, that is improved with the help of association analysis. So if you perform association analysis, even we can improve the customer relationship. So ultimately advantage is, say, I want to cross sell the products here. So that is one of the advantage if I perform the association analysis here. So with the help of association analysis, we can improve our business by cross selling our products. Okay, so now coming to the next thing, that is about the binary representation. Okay, so see here, again I will consider the same that is transactions data here, same thing. So these sets of transactions. So totally how many items we have got? See here, bread, milk, diapers, beer, and then eggs, and then we have got the Coke. See all these items which are present in these transactions. So now the thing is, say I want to represent this market basket data in the form of binary format. Okay. So in the binary format, see, each row, it is going to correspond to the transactions, and each column is going to correspond to the items which are present in the transactions. So here each row is going to correspond to the transactions. So total how many transactions are present in this market basket data? Total we have got 5 transactions here. So they are represented with the help of, that is, rows here, and columns are going to correspond to the attributes. That is, attributes are nothing but the items which are bought by the customer. So total we have got 6 items here: bread, milk, diapers, beer, eggs, and then cola. Now the thing is, say I want to represent, and that is each item as a binary variable here. So each of the item, see, it has been represented as a binary variable, and its value will be 1 if it is present in the transaction, and it will be 0 if it is not present in the transaction. So for example, see, if we consider the first transaction here, so in the first transaction we have got 2 items, that is bread and milk. So that is the 2 items which are present in the first transaction. So now see here, in the first transaction, see, the first row has been represented as a vector here, and the attribute, okay, so it will be set to 1 if it is present in the transaction. So it will be set to 1. So that is bread is present in the transaction, so it is set to 1. And milk is present in the transaction, so it is set to 1. But the diapers, beer, eggs, and cola, they are not present in the first transaction, so they are set to 0. This is the binary representation. If you consider the second transactions, in the second transaction, see, we have got bread, diapers, beer, and eggs. So we need to set bread, diapers, beer, and eggs to 1, 1, and all the other variable values are 0. So in the same way, we can represent the other rows also. So this is the binary representation of a, that is market basket data. That is, if the item is present in the transaction, that will be represented as 1. If it is not present in the transaction, it will be represented as 0. So in the first transaction, we have got the item bread and milk. So it is represented as 1, 1, and the other items are represented as 0. So this is about the binary representation of the market basket data. Okay. So next topic, so better I will discuss in the next class. Okay, just wait for 2 minutes. I will take your attendance.